Hello. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Here it is good morning, and in India it's good evening. Thanks for joining. And whoever is watching this video on a Saturday evening from India, it's really appreciated, and it shows your passion towards learning a new technology or a new thing inside what's happening in the industry. And everyone is aware that this is a series of events which we are planning to take as part of the Xmonkey 360. Every week, or at least twice once in 2 weeks, we are planning to give or share some of the knowledges which we acquired throughout our career to for the benefit of the community. So please do follow the Xmonkey 360 YouTube channel as well, so that all these videos will also be present over there if you miss the live streaming of this one. And today, as part of that, today I have, I'm Satish. Let me give a quick introduction about myself and Logesh. I'm Satish, working as an associate director in AstraZeneca. I'm based out of Canada, and Logesh is a senior consultant who works for the Siemens and who's based out of Bangalore. Today we were together. Like Logesh joins me for sharing some of the intuitive demos for to support the slides and to support the knowledge transfers. Okay, so that's the agenda of today. And today the session is generative AI for the .NET developer. There are a lot of buzzwords around generative AI, right? Generative AI, LLM, and what is tokenization, what is the prompt engineering. All these things so far I'm hearing for the last couple of years. Only the Python developers are keep on talking about that. Why should they have the privilege? Why don't the legacy .NET developers shouldn't have that privilege for creating a .NET based application? Or is there any rule that only the Python developers can write an AI based application? No way. So that's why Microsoft is also coming up with a lots and lots of namespaces and the APIs, which the .NET developer can also consume. The legacy .NET developer, not the framework, but at least the .NET Core 6.0 or 8.0, it can support the generative AI development. Applications can be built using the generative AI, OpenAI, and Azure services. So those things can be done. And as part of today, what we are planning to do is, let me quickly give the agenda of today's session. We'll see what is generative AI and what is LLM, and we'll go with the lots and lots of demo and how the LLM model works, what is the tokenization, and what is prompt engineering. In the prompt engineering, there are two types of prompt engineering: what is system prompt and what is the user prompt. And then what is the difference between system prompt and the user prompt? We'll see that. And we'll generate again a bunch of demos. We will go through that, and what I will talk about the numbers, what is this, how the text has been converted into the numbers, and then how to implement a custom logic in our generative AI application, and what is the knowledge gap on the model, what is the model, and what is the knowledge gap available on that model, how to build that knowledge gap, and how to make more knowledge to the prompt, and what is the RAG mechanism. And with that we are done. Like, we don't worry about the DALI. We try to include the DALI, but it is not uh, it's not possible within this 1 hour. So that's, hope you are clear about what is the agenda. Let me explain once again the agenda. What we are now going to do, we are going to see what is LLM, what is prompt engineering, what is RAG model, what is the knowledge gap. So these are all the things which we are going to see at a high level, and a handful of demo session. We have a handful of demo. We created almost 5 to 6 5 to 6 applications to show the demo. That's where it gives more interest, right? So I'm going through the slides alone. It's not that much useful for anyone. So I'll keep the slides in 20-30 minutes, and Logesh will take up the demo for 20-30 minutes. Okay, that's how we are planning to do. So what is generative AI? Any idea? So what is generative AI? Generative AI, it's a technique by which we need to generate the content. We need to ask any content like, can you either a chat gpt nowadays, in every each and every one might have used the chat gpt or any one format of the generative ai. So I don't need to explain about in detail, but what is generative ai for the layman term? In my understanding, it is a technique by which the data can be generated by someone, that is the model, based upon the question which I have asked. The question is called the prompt, I would say. So for my prompt, if some content has been generated and it is giving back me the answer, the response, that's called as generative AI. And how the LLMs work, and how the LLM work, I think Lokesh, yeah, the slide needs to be okay. The LLMs, at a high level, all our prompts were converted into the tokens. So we call it as tokenization, and that tokens will be sent to the model. This is where the model is. Let me pinpoint a laser pointer. So this is the model which I am referring, and 1 minute. Yeah, this is the tokenization which I am referring, and this is what the model. There are n number of models. Not only I restrict myself into GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, which is by default comes along with the Azure OpenAI services. If at all you want to add Llama or Gemini or whatever the model you want to add, you can add it, and then once the model processes it, it gives me the response. So that's how it comes. And then the demo, we will see how it works. Like maybe after this slide, we will see that one. How the large language model works. The LLM works based upon I'm giving the natural language input, and it pre-processes, maybe it converts the sentence into a tokens. The tokens are nothing but it is not something like, if you, what is my name, what is a token, is a token, my is a token, and name is a token. It is not like that. So it semantically groups the words, and it semantically groups the characters. We don't even consider that as a word by word. It is character by character. And after the token has been, after from the text the tokens has been generated, and that token will be supplied to the model, and that model gets the results based upon the probability distribution. It is in the upcoming slide I will tell you how exactly how precise it is going to be. And based upon the probability distribution, it gets the generated answer, and the output has been encrypted back, like or decrypted back into a proper readable text. See, tokenization is nothing but we can call it as we are giving a text. That text has been converted into or encrypted into tokens, and that token, based upon the token, the result set has been retrieved, and the result set will also be in the format of a token which cannot be understood by the human being. So that is again decoded, and the output will be a proper string. That's how it works. That's the it's at a very very high level. During the demo you will understand how it works. And then here, if as I said, my sentence has been converted into a n number of tokens, and that token gives me only one output, or it need not be one output, it can be multiple outputs as well. So if you see how the tokenizer works, we have something called tokenizer. See the tokenizer, let me open the tokenizer, give me 1 minute. Yeah, if you want to see how my sentence has been converted into tokens, how my sentence, I need to see the ophthalmologist. Just like that, I wanted to give a bigger sentence. That's it. Even so, how it works? The tokenization, it converts the sentence into word by word, and it need not be word by word. The same word, it has been splitted into three different tokens: opt, om, auth, logist. So that's how it works. Okay. Then yeah, the converted token. Now we are the sentence has been splitted into tokens. So this is one token, two, one, two, three. What happens is this three tokens has been fed into the model, and the model tries to understand the fourth one. It retrieves the fourth. That is based upon the probability distribution. It can be we need to start, stop, anything will be there. Okay, and then once it finalizes, stop is the word which comes in the prompt, then it will go to, it will add that token to the existing one, and then it will try to add the next token, and then it will try to add the next token. Like this, it will keep on adding the token. Once it adds all the token, then these will be sent to the model, and the model processes that, and it will give me back the response. Okay, that's how the tokens work. Here if you see, we need to stop, and it has all the possible options from the, like, I mean, as I said, we need to stop or do, say, try, start, anthrop is having the highest possibility, highest probability. So that's the reason it's getting added to that one, and this will be added to your complete request. And before jumping into the prompt engineering, Lokesh, can we go through the mission once? Can you go through the demo of the chat? A simple one.
Sure, sure, sure. Mm, I think you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, basically this is a basic console application which I created on the uh, C# language. So here, first of all, you have to add the Azure.ai.openai extension or NuGet package that you need to add it on here to use the OpenAI library classes. Okay. Once you have done, before that, you have to create your OpenAI service in the Azure. I think
Let's go
for
to the Azure portal.
I think here I have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Here,
So,
Azure
source.
service, here you can find an open AI service. Azure OpenAI says on clicking on create, you can create a new service. You can give your resource group, then a region where you want to deploy, and then a name, and then a price tier. There is always a standard tier. There is no free tier as of now, so you can create it. Since I've created already, I'll show my existing one. After creating your resource, it will be looking like this one. So when you got this resource, you can click on this go to AI Foundry. This Foundry, you can go to the home. If you go to the home, you can see the API keys which you can use it in your application. And then there will be a OpenAI endpoint as well. So this is the two that we are going to configure in our application, and we are going to use it. Okay, and before that, we have to deploy the model whatever you need in your or else which we need to use in our application. So on click of deploy model, there are listed all the models which are given by OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. So I already deployed. You just have to select which model you want, and then you can confirm. It will give you option to give deployment name, and then you can deploy it within a minute or less than a minute. It will deploy, and then it will list it down here. After that, you can take this is the name that we are going to use it in the our application. This is model name, and then all other versions will be provided by the Microsoft, and we are not going to manage anything here. And then after you deployed here, we have to configure the OpenAI endpoint, which already I have configured it. And then the model I deployed here is OpenAI GPT-4.0. So that is also I'm giving the name here. And then OpenAI key that I have shown in the home, the API key basically. Okay, after that I've created a new Azure key credentials with these keys. After that, I've created a new client for OpenAI. In that one, I created a new object for chat completion, and chat completion I gave the user prompt, which is this one. Like, what are the top three features of .NET release? After you giving that one, I'm just using that OpenAI client to get the completion in the streaming. So I'll get the completion, the enumerable. So I'm just printing out here. If I run, you can see that. Okay, basically the prompt, whichever whatever that I raised here, right? What is the top three features of .NET? The response I'm printing here, the top three features as per the model knowledge, it gives the .NET 8, and then the top three native AOT, and then enhanced Blazor, and then improve the performance scalability. And then we are just printing out here. So there is no much complication here. Just we are installing the NuGet package and started initializing the client and calling the APIs basically.
Correct. See, it's a small and clear demo for the benefit of the users, whoever wants to start their first program on the generative AI. So, what are all the things we need to do? We need to go to the Azure portal, create a OpenAI service, deploy your models properly, get the keys and the endpoint URL, come back to Visual Studio, create a console application. But for creating after creating the console application, the first step, add the NuGet packages of Azure.ai.openai, and then the classes which we are, can you go back to the program, Yogesh? Yeah. And then the classes which we are going to use as Azure key credentials, which will convert our keys, and then the URI, which will be our endpoint URL. And then we are creating an OpenAI client. Using the OpenAI client, we are the response we are getting is chat completion options. That is the class. And by using the OpenAI client and get chat completion streamlining async, a streaming async method, we're getting the response and write down the response. Maybe Logesh, instead of hard coding the user prompt, can we get that one from the user itself?
Yeah,
Console.readline. Yeah,
that also we can.
right. See, and console.writeline, give enter some information.
So the user,
Enter any question.
please
Hmm.
enter that question.
That's it. Now we can use this application for any type of question.
Why Bengaluru is famous? My God.
It's the IT hub, it's the climate, it is the education, it is cultural, it is entrepreneurship, historical, and public and private sectors. Oh my god, there are lots and lots of answers. Okay, so these are all the answers which I'm getting. Usually, this one we will get it from the ChatGPT portal or the OpenAI portal. So now we can create our own portal by using the OpenAI, by using the .NET, right? Instead of I think in this manner, instead of console application, if I have something like if I'm creating a website in the .NET website or .NET application, inside that I want to have a small chat GPT or like a small chat assistant kind of stuff, we can use this functionality. Okay, that's one thing. Thanks, Lokesh. Can
Thank you.
I share my screen? Yeah, right. So the prompt engineering, now with this understanding, we'll see the what is prompt engineering. So prompt engineering, as you would have seen, what Logesh has given, the second question, why Bangalore is famous for. So that is called as the prompt engineering, where if you ask a proper question, the model is going to give you the proper answer. So the prompt can be something like, there are three different kinds of prompt. Either in the world, the entire world, the prompts can be only of these three things. One, it can be an instruction. Either obviously in Google or in ChatGPT, what we are going to ask, we'll ask some help from them. Instruction: can you give me the piece of code to connect with an SMTP server? Can you give me the piece of code to connect with the Oracle DB? Like that, I usually that's what the prompts which I used to write. And similarly, the second kind of prompt is completion. Completion is we know half of the information, but we don't know the rest of the things. Machine learning is a field of artificial intelligence that, and if you give the double dot and give an enter, it will try to complete the sentence. So, and the third one is a blind question, it's a what is the AI, what is the why it is famous for Bangalore is famous, like that it can be. And always think that the model is, it's going to support you. So to get a proper answer, you need to give a proper prompt. You need to give, or you need to rephrase your questions properly. Then only it is going to give. So while dealing with the model, there are three important things. You always avoid the assumptions, because the assumptions, if you make any assumption, that's going to backfire. And then break down the problem statement into a smaller ones. It should be then only the model will correlate between the smaller problem, instead of giving a huge problem to that and try asking that to solve it. If you ask, the prompt should be in such a way that, if that is happening like this, what should I take, what should my response. So like that, if you break down, then it will be good. And then provide more details to the model. So that's one important thing which we have to. And there are the other things. All these things we have seen so far is user prompts, how the user has to give it. And then the system prompt, now we'll see how the system is going to prompt. In my OpenAI, in the application which Lokesh written, if I ask a question, what is the favorite interest of Satish Nadarajan? Does it know that? No, right? The OpenAI model doesn't know about myself. Even it knows about myself. It will have an information from my LinkedIn. It will have an information from my Facebook. It will have my information from the Twitter, but not exactly what's my interest and what's happening on my what kind of songs I used to listen. What's my favorite movie? All these things, unless otherwise I didn't. If I didn't post it in any of the social media or any of the media, it's not going to answer it. It will say that I cannot answer, or it will say that I don't have an answer for it. But for that, when we create an application, instead of giving a blunder response, usually we will try to give a polite response, right? So that polite response is called the system prompt. If anything, the model doesn't understand the question, or if the model doesn't have the answer for that question, the model is going to give us back something, give us back the response. What response the model needs, or the application needs to give back, that is called as the system prompt. Being a developer, we should define what kind of system prompts, or what kind of prompt my application should give back to the end users. So that's why system prompt is more getting more important. If you see, what can you tell about me, John Doe? Dear John, sorry to say, but I don't have an info on you today, because it doesn't have, definitely. It will not have it, definitely. But rather, this one, what we can do is, while defining assistant persona, its tone and style, and the chat history. What we can do is, we are designing the system prompt. We, as a developer, we are designing the system prompt. I need to know what my system is going to tell if it doesn't able to answer. So how I will tell? I'll give us polite tone. I'll give us I'll give a style in such a way that it always responds in a polite manner, and then I will maintain the chat history so that it will look into the chat history and get the response out of it. And then providing examples, context, and metadata grounding. Providing much more example will try to make my model understand more. and then providing guardrails and mitigating the fabrications. It's nothing but I need to know, like instead of, sometimes what happens is, instead of going to the entire internet, I want to get the information only from my organization. I want to get only information only from my SharePoint portal. I want to get only information from my OneDrive portal. So those kind of things we can guardrail. That is called as guardrail. You can restrict how far the data search can happen, the data index can happen. So that one, when we come to the RAG model, we will explain. We will see in detail. But as of now, the prompt, it's giving the guardrail is nothing but the restriction or the boundary in which it is going to search. And there is a second demo which we can see. Logesh, can we go back to the hiker demo? Okay.
Sure. No.
Yeah.
Mm,
Right. In this demo, what we are going to see is we created a content. Yeah. This is the one. We created a content like John Day. What are all the trail names he has climbed out, and which country, what is the weather we climbed out, and which date he climbed. So that's what, like a hiker is there. The hiker information, he is having a database kind of stuff. The file is in the MD. You can consider this as a DB table. So in this table, it has all the trails, all the days when he did the trailing, and all the country where that particular trail is there, and what is the weather. Okay. Now we are going to index this data.
okay. Okay, let's see the demo here. The same whatever that we have created, the same OpenAI client and then key credentials we are creating here. And then extra
Mhm.
we are creating the chat competition options, which is like we are telling the model like what is the maximum token it can give as output, and then what is the temperature, and then the frequency penalty that a word or the token that is going to repeat on the output, and then the model, which model that we are going to use it here. Okay, this everything I configured in the secret, so it will automatically pick it up. So I'm reading the hiker MD from the local folder, and then giving the system prompt that you are upbeat and friendly. You are introduce yourself first, hello, and provide the such based on the record that user records below. So I'm adding the markdown here, whatever I read from the hiker.md. Okay, and then I'm adding this one as a system prompt here. So it takes that Iker MD and then my prompt as a input. I mean the system side we are giving this is the information that I have as a Iker user. Okay, and then from the user I'm saying like here I've hard coded the things. Just I'm starting the conversation and then it gives the output. And then in the second question I'm asking like I would like to know the duration of hiking I did in Canada compared to hiking I've done in the other countries. So it will send the same message to the it will first check my data that I whatever I given to the system prompt, and then it will check in my model, and then it will return the response, and then we are just printing out here. Okay, let's run and see. Okay, if you see here, like this is the data that we have provided to the as a system input, and then we are saying hi, and then it is saying hello, and then I'm friendly hiking buddy, it says like assistant to me, and then I'm asking this question as hard coded question, and then it gives you are hiked 5 times in Canada and the 3 times in other countries, so the ratio is 5:3. So it calculates that as well, and then it gives the output to me simply. So what we have done here, just we are giving the whatever the input as we have from the Iker MD, and then we adding it as a system prompt, and then we are start asking the questions to the model, and then it checks the system prompt, and then it goes to the model and then validates it and coming back, and then we are just printing out the responses. Um, this is the hiker demo that I have. Satish, over to you.
Any questions so far?
I think not much. Mm, seems no.
Lokesh, any I just
As of
wanted
now,
to give a pass. It's been more than 30 minutes, so let's give a pass and ask the people.
mm,
Okay. As of now, there is no question. Okay, let's continue with the demo. The next slide. And then now we are going to talk in numbers, right? So what is numbers? That obviously every one of us knows that the computer cannot can manipulate only the zeros and ones. It is not manipulating the text. All this legacy stories are there, but even then, here also the same thing is happening. The tokens are encoded into numbers, and the numbers were fed into the model. Model uses this number or encoded number to retrieve the information, and then while sending back to the user, it decodes. That's how it works. Now how it works, for that we have a separate model for it. Like we don't need to have convert anything here. What we need to, as Logesh pointed out, we have a separate model, right? While creating the OpenAI, we deployed some of the model. Along with the model, we'll deploy the text embedding and also. This is one of the model we have to deploy it. So this is where what it does. The prompt has been converted into the numbers by means of the text embedding ADA model. There is a separate model which is available. Let me try to take that model quickly. So this is the model which we have, and the deployments. Here, if you see the share demo and the deployment, this is what text embedding ADA 2. This is the model which we have to present. It has to present, otherwise it will not work. And the other models, what we can do is, I deployed, like myself and Logesh deployed a 3.5, 4.0, 4.0 mini, 3.5 turbo. These are all the models which we have deployed, and in the code we can use any one of the model, whatever we want to use, we can use it. Okay, that's where it is. And yes, now let's come back to the a bit of more sophisticated coding. I would call it as sophisticated coding. So what sophisticated coding means? Instead of relying, if Yogesh asked for what is like, let's assume that why Bangalore is famous for, it goes to the entire internet and it retrieves all the information about and retrieves all the information about your culture, IT hub, all this, like economical situations, all these things, it is retrieving. But what if I want to restrict myself within the hotels? What is the best hotel within the Bangalore city? Search for the hotel, and in that case I want to restrict something, like I want to restrict the model not to use the entire internet data, focus on a specific thing, and that focus also I can give what are all the things which is required as an output. So only this one required output will be location and match price. I'm defining a function. Basically there are lots and lots of functions I can write within my application. This one, let us consider make my trip. Make my trip is a .NET based application. Let us consider. Okay, similar to that, I am creating my own application. So that if someone clicks on a button search hotel, I want to show them only the location and the max price, but I don't have an answer for it. If I go to LLM, it gives me a large data. Out of that, I'm interested only on the location and max price. This is the use case for this. In that case, what I can do is I can create a function and I can give the function name as search underscore hotel, and then during the prompt, if the user clicks on or enters some information and clicks on the add button or search button, I can add this prompt to that. So that the moment it sees this particular word, it goes to the function and it knows that my application knows that whatever the model retrieves, it is important. Like we need to focus only on the location and max price. So the prompt will be hotel with the private beach cost max 300 euro in Delmaris. This is how the answer will be coming, and this answer is based out of location equal to Del Maris, max price equal to 300. This JSON object will be decoded back, and this JSON will be converted into a proper sentence, and that sentence will be something like the hotel with a private beach cost maximum $300 in Del Maris. That's what the output which we will get it from the application. Okay, and we have the demo function. Your Logesh, can we show a quick demo for the functions?
To like okay, as we have seen the same set of code again, and then the OpenAI, and then key features that
Mm-hmm.
whatever we need it. After that I'm having the chat completion function tool definition. So this is the function that we are talking about. Just I'm creating a new chat completion function tool, and then I'm giving the name for that. So like here get weather, current weather, okay, and then the description, and then a parameter whatever needs to be passed, and then a serialization camel case. After that I'm just creating the response message which I have to add it there. So this is another thing, and then in within the response we can have like many functions we can append it up. Like I need to know the hotel price, so I can have a one more function. I need a weather, so I have a one more function. So like that you can add a multiple functions here, okay. And then the same options, completion options we are creating. Then this is system prompts that is hard coded here. So when you come into the last here, you can see I'm just getting the chat responses. After getting the responses from it, there is a choices in that one. Response choice. In the response choice, there is a finish reason. If the reason is the tools call, in case I need to call the external function or external API, it will tell you, and then you can add the existing response message here. After that, you have to know the this is the tool call. So in the same response or same question, we can have a multiple tool calls. So here we are adding a for each. So inside that we are just calling this one. So it will go in the here to call the function, whatever the external function or API or anything that you need to call or from the your application. Okay. Here if you see that I'm checking the function call, the completion call is name is the same. I mean the weather. If you see this name and then the coming tool name is the same, this I'm going to do as an argument. So I'm checking like any argument or parameter that I've got from there, and then this is the result as of now null. So here you can see this is the place you can call the weather API or the hotel API, any API which you need to call from here. After that you will here I hard coded as a 15 degrees Celsius. After that I'm just returning the chat rule message. Okay. Once the message is returned from there, we are just appending as a completion. After calling all the tool calls or a function calls, we are just getting the response completion again. We are sending it to the chat completion because before that we have got the choices. Now we got the responses as well. After that, we are taking the assistant message as a choices dot message, and then I'm printing the content. So if I run, you can see it. See, I'm just saying hi from the user side, and then assistant says like I'm a avid hiking enthusiast here to help to find some exciting hiking in your area. Please tell me that where you are located and what kind of hiking city. So I need to know the weather here. So if yes, like I live in the grade, so I'll put a breakpoint here so that you can see it is calling the function. If you see, we got the function call. So here you can see the get weather, get current weather, and then the ID, the unique ID it generates internally, and then the location, and then the Celsius. I need it in the Celsius. So this is the argument that I'm passing from there. So we got it here. We are not calling, just we are hard coded the data as well. We are not calling the any API. So if you want to, we can call the API as well. Okay. After calling that, I'm returning this response. After returning the response from here, I'm just appending that response to the completion option again. And then after that, I'm just going to the OpenAI client, get completion, and then I'm adding the completion options also again here. After that, I'm going back to the responses. So here you can see the response here that we have received from there. And then we are just printing the content. So basically, whenever the option comes or they need to know the real value of that weather or the price of the hotel, it knows like we have to call the API. So that time it will come back from the API, the completion, the OpenAI chat completion, and then it gives the choices. So we have to call the API after we got the results or the API responses that we need to append into the results. After that, appending that result, we are just again getting the chat completion. After that, we are just printing the value here. It is just a simple thing so that Microsoft made many things as a possible or a easy way to do it. Just we are creating those objects like the tool object and then the chat completion option, and then it gives that ability to call the API. Just we are calling and then appending it. That's it. Uh,
Perfect. So basically, this is the very fundamental level of the functions. Azure is having, or the .NET is having a lot more than this. There is one another concept called semantic functions. Here, if you see, it is more or like a traditional way of programming. If else statement, if it has this keyword, call this method. If this has this keyword, call this method. It is traditional way of coding, right? But Microsoft is providing much more than that one. Like we have a semantic functions which is larger than in the topic. Maybe you can read based upon, if you google it for the semantic function, you will get it. So the semantic function at a high level, what it does is, even it will go without any if else statement. If you define a lot of functions, and even without any name of the functions or the keywords which looks for, the system itself, the application itself will decide which function to call based upon the user prompt. Okay, so that's called as semantic functions. And hope my screen is visible. Yeah. With this introduction, let's move on to the model knowledge. So there is a gap in the model knowledge, right? Always, if you see that, as I told many times, the model, it is nothing but you can consider it as a intern or a small baby, which has its own memory, which has its limited memory. What it does is, the whatever the answer which you are getting on ChatGPT 3.5, it's not the same which you are going to get it on 4.0, right? Because the last time 3.5 index happened was September 2021 kind of stuff, or end of 2021 is what ChatGPT 3.5 got refreshed. So if I ask 3.5 whether Queen Elizabeth is still alive, what it will say? It will say that yes, still alive, because September 2021 she was alive. So that's the reason. Always go with the latest model, but I would prefer, don't go with the preview model also. Like whatever the models are, anything whatever it happen, like long LTS, like long term support, that is the one, or that is the version which I would prefer. I will not always go into the latest version. At least the latest but one would be the right way of would be the right way of doing that one, in my view. So if you see in this slide, the 3.5 and 4.0 is not going to give you the same answer. So think before implementing it in your application. And then how do I give more information? Like how can I give more prompts? Based upon my prompt, it should give the answer properly. So if I give a prompt like I need warm waterproof shoes to go on a hike, definitely it is not going to help give me an answer, because the system doesn't know who I am. The system doesn't know where I am, or there are a lot other parameters are there. So what you can do is, while giving the prompt itself, if you give more context, the context can be what is the task, what is the document, and then when I give a prompt, the system will respond it very properly. But all these things, if you know, all this information, if you know, then why do we need a response from the system? That's one question. But consider these are all the generic information. You create or you consolidate all your organization wide or enterprise wide information and index them. Keep that index or keep that vector db as your source of search, and then when you do any prompt on top of it, it will give a proper response. Say for example, in this slide, if you see the trail walker or the trek hiker, don't worry about the trail walker or trek hiker. The actual scenario is something like, we are implementing a new project, and for that new project we have a n number of documentations. Like there are a huge set of documentations which we have, and those documentations, I'm keeping it in the SharePoint folder. I'm creating an application, one page application for my technical support team or the business support team, whoever it is. And those, the whatever the prompt they ask, it should go back to my SharePoint repository, get the content, and give a response for it properly. It's not a simple search, and it's not a document written. No, it should not return back the document and all. It should go through the document, understand what the context on the document, and then give a proper response so that my technical support team can understand it. And this is the actual scenario which we are going to talk about. This one we will go with the RAG model. At that time we will see the demo. But this is how the prompt should be provided with additional knowledge. And now with this, let's go with the RAG model. What is the RAG model? So retry, augment, generate. That's what the RAG model, everybody knows by this time. So retry, what it is going to retry? Say for example, how to create a user in one of my enterprise application. How to create a user. That is the user question. So that question will go to my SharePoint portal or the indexed vector DB. The source for the indexed vector DB is going to be my SharePoint portal. In the SharePoint portal, I have a document how to create a user for the application with this permission. All these things. It is a two-page slider. Okay, two-page slider which I have. And whenever I ask the question, it will go. The system will go and query my data, and it will go for this operation. It will go retrieve over the knowledge base. This is the vector DB. If you see, this is the vector DB, and then I get the results, and that results I'm passing it to the LLM, and this is where the decode is happening, a proper user readable information, and then I'm getting the results back. This results will be displayed on the screen. That's how the RAG model works. The first one, it is going to retrieve. The second one, it is going to augment it. Augment it is nothing but it's a continuous loop. Like it will augment, it's nothing but after retrieving, it will think for the probability, how accurate that information is. Again, it will add the prompt again. Again, it will add the token. So like this, it will until it gets a it feels that it should feel that it is confident enough to give back the results. Until then, it will keep on augmenting, and then once the final results came, the results will be generated, and that is where LLM comes into picture. Okay, and we will go for the RAG demo. Yep, image generation. I think it is not possible today. Logesh, can we go with the RAG demo, Logesh, the YouTube one?
Thank you. Hope you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And today we have built this React model on top of the new framework, .NET Aspire. It is nothing but it is like MVC, and then it gives the basic orchestration of backend and framework, like how what the Kubernetes exact does. It is trying to do it in local to for more observability. So here you can see we have three more projects, which is one is backend, another one is database migrator, another one is front end. Okay, so this is the app host which will run your all the application at the same time, like a front end and back end. So instead of just running back end and then front end separately, it will automatically orchestrate your application. That's the work of this distributed application or the Aspire. So in the distributed application or a small application, you can have your front end, back end, database, all the configuration that you have to do, and then what are the dependencies, references you have, that you will add it here. So when you start it, it will automatically pull your Docker container or databases, and starting your front end and back end, all the things it will automatically does. Okay, here what we are doing here, before going into the demo, just we have some YouTube content, just a static content we try to directly pull from the YouTube, but it happened like there is some bot. If you are calling from the local host, it is not allowing to grab the details. Instead of that, we just hard coded the some YouTube data, and then we started building that. We are just putting generating the YouTube data into the vector data, and then we are trying to retrieve the details from that vector database. Okay, for that we are using the Postgres things. So when you use the Postgres, or else when you start using the Aspire, it will automatically pull your Postgres container and starting it for you. Okay, this is the container that we are going to use here, I mean the databases. So when you start it, this is how your UI, the Aspire UI will look like. And then here I have our two containers, Postgres and then a PG admin. Here you can see this is a YouTube client and then database migrator, and then this is the data ingestions. So basically this is the backend that I'm saying. This is the front end application. So in that front end application, I'm just asking, oh Shiva. So it says there is
No,
some common
Shivani,
information, not
it went to the common. Yeah.
common one. So because there is no, we didn't build the rag stuffs. Okay, when you start building it, just need a URL. I'm just taking from here and then pasting it here. And clicking on a build, it's gonna generate the vector things for you. Okay, what actually happens here is when you come here, this is the application that I'm using. Here you can see after giving the URL, it's try to grab it, but as of now, I hard coded some data here. Because see, this is the YouTube data that I have. Basically, 5 videos of Shivani's. Okay, so what it happens? Just we are grabbing the metadata. What are the things there, and then we are saving it to the memory. After that, we are pushing into the Postgres DB. If you see here, there is in the database. Schemas. This is the YouTube ID that is generated automatically. So if you see that I have given a 5 videos statically, so it generates the 5 data for you with the vector data. If you see, this is the vector things. So whatever the equivalent string that you are providing or the object you are providing, it generates the vector for that. If you see, I'm just copying this value. So do I have a notepad? See, this is the vector that we are looking at. Basically, some numbers, what we have already talked about, all the numbers that are magically created by the text embedding ADA. Okay. After that, if I go back to my client and then again I'm asking, oh, Shiva. So now it goes to the my model and then it checks there is any data in my database, and then it, if there is a data, so it checks there is a data and then it comes back and then gives the YouTube links that I'm going to watch here. So if I open it, see this, the links will coming from the my databases. Before there is no knowledge. After that I added the rag, I mean the vectors into my Postgres. After asking the same question, it grabs the details. If I ask, is Darshini, it gives the values. Can you suggest me some YouTube videos? Mhm. So it says like it is not going to checking into my basically my rack. Instead of that, it says okay, I can help you, but you have to give the proper prompt. So you have to specifically give the prompt. What is happening when I raise a question? There is a client here, so I'll go. This is the collection. So if you see here, this is the collection that I have saved. So it takes the collection and then we are adding the system prompt. So I'm saying the model to the model that your job is to extract the most likely collection value from the following matches of the user prompt. If there is no match determined, randomly selecting option is from the collection values and then only return the values and then nothing else. It is like a guardrail. Like I'm saying, don't go and then generate some values from the online. Instead, just check my model and then if there is a data and come back. And then I'm just telling there is a collection and then this is the collection I'm adding as a user message, and then this is the prompt. Whatever I gave the prompt, it will come here. Okay. If you see, oh, uh, oh, oh, if you see the prompt that I gave, the masking adding into the history, so it will have, it can maintain the multiple histories basically. After that, I mean giving the all the histories that I have, three histories totally count. If you see the result view, first I'm saying this one and then little sister, the collection is little sister. Basically this YouTube channel that I'm saying, little sister means like the collection we have now, 5 videos basically. After that, I'm saying Voice Shiva. So it goes and then checks the possible value and then I'm giving the chat responses. So it goes here. After the returning the message that I'm printing it here. Okay. Whatever the things. So basically what we have done here, I grabbed some YouTube static videos, which is here, and then I'm giving these details to just I'm creating the vector data for this one and then pushing into the local PG or Postgres vectors, and after that I'm asking the questions. Then it goes to my vector database and checks there is any similar data. Then it grabs those details and giving it to the model, and then we are printing the values basically. So where I have configured these things. Wait a minute. So if you see here that chat completion model, that a same thing that we are doing, but in a different way. So I'm adding the Azure OpenAI client to my builder, then I'm adding it the chat completion, and then the what are the deployment model, or else the default is I'm saying GPT 4.0. Then I'm adding the semantic kernel here. So semantic kernel is basically that the engine which allows you to the talk to the vector database or things. Okay, the embedding models also I'm configuring here. Add OpenAI text embedding generation. Basically the whatever the data YouTube data we gave, it converts to vector, right? For that we are using a model text ada, so that also we are configuring here. So this is basically the memory store, which is why we are going to store the data, that basically vector database. Okay, the configuration everything we have done here. Then we started, and then we have a static data which we put into the as a vector into the database, and then we are retrieving and showing it as a data. This is the RAG demo actually. Mm,
Thanks a lot, Logesh. And with this, we are done. Like, thanks a lot for your patience, and do let us know if at all anything needs to be answered. Any questions so far? Okay, I think there is one question. Vedashekar asked, chat completion option changing the values has any specific impact?
yeah, basically like
Yes.
whatever the we are giving, right, temperature and then p top, basically we say these two things. Like a maximum tokens, if I say I want a bigger paragraph, I can increase it, but it there is a value for it. You have to pay the cost as well. If you increase the tokens, you have to pay the cost, and then it will hallucinate actually. If you increase the value, it will give the precise, or else if the information is there, it will give. If you reduce it, how much you are reducing, it will start hallucinate, from my understanding.
Okay.
You have anything to add up here?
No. Thank you. Thanks a lot.